All right, what is going on? I wanted to get this video out as soon as possible because um, the game went on a little late last night, and I do have some time this morning, so I'm gonna probably try to um, record the video this morning and then get it uploaded later. Uh, Packers and Lions. I knew it was gonna be a tight game, um, and I figured. I think what did I say, like 21-17 or something, which was close. It was 23-22. But the way it ended should not. And the Lions should have won this. I mean, I love the Packers. I will support them always, but the Lions should have won this game. Um, there was just so much bad officiating in this game, and it does not help at all. But I want to start with the good first, so we're gonna start with the Lions. So Matthew Stafford, pretty good game, 18 of 32, 265 yards. They came out first play, did a flea flicker, and got I don't even know, like 50 yards, 55, 60 yards or something. They went down the field in one play, and then they got stalled on that first drive, which the Packers defense looked pretty good. They started out slow, and the Lions are picking them apart in the first quarter. And the offense wasn't really doing anything against the Lions defense. But Lions offense has started out good, and it's always fun watching Matthew Stafford, and he's always been underrated. I think he's his better quarterback than everyone gives him credit for. He had a couple scrambles last night too. Couple first downs, couple major first downs that he helped picked up for the team. Johnson, pretty, like Green Bay's defense. They stopped the run, which I thought was good. They finally stopped the run, and then causing Matthew Stafford to throw more. Johnson had 13 carries with 34 yards, and he only averaged 2.6 yards. So the Green Bay's defense really they held their ground in the running game this week, which I thought was really good. Now they just got to get better at, they're letting a lot of big plays go down against them. Galladay had a day. He only had 5 receptions, but he had 121 yards. He was just going off on King. He's the one that caught the flea flicker on the very first play of the game. For I don't even know how long it was, but it was probably 50, 60 yards. And I mean their receivers are just going off. Hall had a 58-yard reception. Johnson had 2 receptions for 27 yards. Hawkinson 4 for 21. And then Jones had 17 for 2, and then the other 2 receivers that caught the ball were under. The other 3 were held to under 10 yards. Defensively, there was a lot of there's only 1 sack. That's right. They were getting in Rodgers' face. I think the Packers. They were shut out in the first quarter of the game, and then by halftime, they started coming back. And it was 13-10 at half. But the defense for the Lions, was doing good. They were doing good until second half with the refs, which Lions should have won that. They should have, and it was not even, this was not good at all. Matthew Prater, or not Matthew, oh my God. Matt Prater, he had a day. 5 field goals, all were makes. I think the longest was 54. But he was going off. And that's one thing where the Lions they would go down and only get a field goal instead of trying to go for a touchdown or being able to get a touchdown because the Packers defense was stopping them. And that's basically what kept the Packers in the game was that our defense was holding them, and like they would just go 3 and out, and then they would just get field goals. So that's pretty much the only reason why we won the game. Well, one of two, the defense and the refs. So they had a good game. Lions had a really good game, and this should not have. What happened, and I'm going to get into it later, but should not have happened. But let's move on to the Packers stats here. Aaron Rodgers had a pretty good day, too. He 24-39, 283 yards, 2 touchdowns, and he had an interception, which wasn't really his fault. I believe it was Lazard who juggled the ball. Jamal Williams, glad to have him back. He really stepped up. Aaron Jones had a wide open touchdown that he dropped. And Aaron Jones is not looking good. 11 carries for only 47 yards. But Jamal Williams went off. 14 carries for 104 yards. He was just ground pounding it, and they could not stop him. The Lions defense had a hard time stopping him. And it was crazy. And I'm glad he's back after the whole concussion protocol. Glad he was able to play. Glad he's better. And he was making up for lost time, and he was just going. Lazard, who did have the juggled interception. He came back the next drive, had a drop, and then the next play, he had I think it was a 35-yard touchdown, which was a beautiful pass from Rodgers, and Lazard was able to hang on. And he was looking good at the end of the game, definitely stepping up after Allison went out. Devontae. I'm trying to remember who else. I think someone else went out. I don't remember. Graham. Graham had a good catch in the fourth quarter there to extend the drive. I've always been critical of Graham because it always seems like he just drops everything in the red zone but catches everything in the middle of the field. So I'm glad I was able to hang on to it. I've been critical of him, but I know what I've seen what he can do in Seattle and the Saints. So I guess I kind of hold him to a standard. But I was glad he was showing good today. Kumerow finally was getting some play time, and basically the second quarter, the first half I should say, was basically him. He was going off, and he only had 17 yards, but he was I think it was back-to-back first downs. Oh no, sorry, not back-to-back, but it was in the same drive where the Packers were able to score their first points. Mercedes Lewis had a really good catch. I think it was beginning of the fourth quarter. And he had 2 receptions for 50 yards, which really helped out towards the end of the game. MVS, 2 receptions for 48 yards. He was doing good. Allison, who went out, and I think it was the beginning of the third quarter, somewhere around there. It might even been before half. I don't remember. But he was having a day before he went out. He made an awesome catch, the catch that he got hit on the helmet, which helped. I believe it was third quarter. Um, well, we'll talk about Shepard now. I don't know how you don't feel, the Lions defenders on special teams coming, at you full speed. I mean, he had dropped kick return or not punt return, which caused the Lions to get into field goal range or to be in field goal range right away. Luckily, our defense did stop them on that drive, so they only had 3 points there. But I mean, he was just not doing good. He was dropping balls everywhere. He only had one reception for 1 yard, so he was not doing that well. And after he caused the fumble, he was just fair catching everything on punt returns because he did not want to take another L. So I don't know. We'll see. He's still he's young, so we'll see what he can do, and he'll get better. Then moving on to defense, Zadarius Smith had a sack. Preston Smith had a sack and a half with Fackrell. Sullivan had 4 tackles. I mean, King was getting exposed that first half. I mean, he was just he did not look good at all. Galladay was just just running all over him, and he was just making catch after catch after catch, and King could do nothing about it. He started getting better in the second half of play, and he had a pretty good deflection there, and at the end of the third quarter, which stalled a drive for the Lions. But he was just not starting out well at all. Jair Alexander was not really targeted. He had 1 pass deflection and 2 tackles, but they were just not really going for him this game. And I mean, I can see why, because I think he's a really good up and coming corner. He obviously he's not one of the best right now, but he could be. He could be up there. By the more or the longer he's in the NFL, the more games he plays. I think he could be a really good corner. And even on a slow day, he didn't allow a catch. I believe he didn't allow a catch last night, and I have high hopes for him. I can't wait to see what he does in the future. How well he helps out this defense and whatnot. So I can't wait for that. And then Mason Crosby had a pretty good game too. He was 3 for 3, and the game-winning kick at the end there. Not a lot to say there. There was a funny moment where he had to be helped up into the crowd. I think it was by his center or something, or by the snapper. I mean, so he jumped up and had help getting into doing the Lambeau leap. J.K. Scott, he's always getting better and better. He had 3 kicks for 155 yards, and he pinned 1 inside the 20 out of the 3, so 1 and 3. And then he averaged 51 yards a kick. I mean, he was doing real good, helping flip flip field of play. He was just helping out a lot. So I love watching him. He's just really good, and I think he's probably one of my favorite punters. But I want to talk about the Zebras. It was not good officiating. I'm trying to remember who it was. Um, Trey Flowers. That's who it was. He had two terrible, and I mean terrible, penalties. If you don't know, Trey Flowers is on the Lions. And they were calling. I think it was hands to the face was called, I believe. But he had like his hand hooked on whoever he was going up against, like on like the I guess like the collar, I guess we'll say, kind of like up there by the neck. But it's not. It was a terrible call because, and I guess I should have brought a picture of this up. But it was smart play on Flowers' part, and the refs just thought, oh, it's hands to the face, blah blah blah, which negated a sack, which helped the Packers. I believe they got a field goal that drive. I believe. And then there was one that it was 3rd down and 9, I believe. And another bad call where, hands to the face supposedly, and it extended the drive, which the Lions, it should have been 4th down. And I mean, the Packers probably would have kicked the field goal because they were in field goal range. But I mean, it should have been like 16-22 or something like that. Should have been the final. I mean, these refs were just terrible in the second half. And I could sit here and go, oh well, the Eagles, screwed us, or we lost to the Eagles because the refs screwed us. Well, yeah, but I mean, if you look at every other team has been screwed over by the refs, and this is nothing new. This has been going on for a while now. But I mean, I gotta give it to the Lions because it should have been. They should have been the winners here. I mean, when you have, obviously, when it's a bad call, I mean, obviously, he probably could have. Well, I don't know if you can challenge it with no timeouts. Maybe that's why the Lions didn't challenge it. But it was terrible play calling, and it's ruining games. I mean, you have a lot of them that. A lot of games this year, and I mean, even this weekend, there was just a lot of bad calls on the refs, and it just seems like it's just getting worse and worse. I mean, there's a reason why they call it ref ball. It's like they have a fantasy draft and they're picking the Packers offense over Detroit's defense, so they want the Packers offense to go down and do good. It's like they're playing. It's like they're playing fantasy. Excuse me. And it's just does not look good. And obviously, Packers are 3-0 in the division. Obviously it'll help for the playoffs down the road. But a win is a win, but it was a terrible win. A very ugly win. This should not have been the outcome of the game. I mean, I would personally rather just have well, obviously not like obviously like you're hugging the defender or you're pushing them down, if they're trying to receive the ball. But if you have like just small little things like that, I mean, just let them play. I think penalties should be restricted for the bigger. More like the worst. What's the word I'm looking for? Like it should be reserved for the plays where you obviously see it's really bad, pass interference, or he can't get his arms up to catch the ball because the defender is hugging him, or you have the guy like in a chokehold or something. Like, that should be, like, what the flags are for, not these little, tiny little things that, like, affect the game, like, affect the outcome. And a little thing like that where, he's doing real good on defense coming up. And obviously, you know, the linemen, they're going to have, you know, hand to hand. It's hand to hand combat. And, you know, obviously you're going to have a lot of that. And, you know, there's always a lot of holding. And the Packers got called for a lot of holding. And, you know, they've been really bad for holding calls this year. But I think the refs, I think they just got to rework penalties. And, I mean, if we go, like, really far in the playoffs or whatever, you know, and, like, if the Lions do make it to the wild card and, you know, we win the division, blah, blah, blah. And, like, I don't want, like, obviously, yeah, you know, woo, we made it really far in the playoffs. But it's like a game like this could affect everything in the long run. And, you know, the refs just screwed that up. And obviously, you know, divisional games, and I've always said this, but they're not like a regular game. It's way different from a regular game. And, you know, there's more energy in the air and whatnot. So obviously, you know, you're going to have people, you know, going harder and, you know, trying to, you know, because it's a divisional rival. I mean, you're trying to get the, you know, the top spot. And obviously, this was for the top spot in the NFC North, which is the best division in the NFL right now. And, you know, it was two teams going for the top spot. And, you know, obviously, you know, good, you know, Packers won 5-1, top of the division, yeah. But they should not have won like this. This is not. Like the Lions. The Lions should be in first place for the NFC North right now. It's as simple as that because of how these refs, you know, were calling plays, and you know it helped Green Bay in the long run, and it helped them win the game. And I hate that. And I really hate that. And, you know, I love, you know, watching the Packers play. And, you know, our defense did pretty good. You know, the offense started out slow. And, you know, the Lions offense started out hot. And they came out of the gate, you know, just, you know, going downfield, taking shots, and they were hitting them. And, you know, it looked like, you know, they were exposing the Packers defense. And then, you know, the Packers in the second half, the defense, you know, started getting rid of them, and, you know, it got good. And, you know, there was a couple penalties here and there. But I think it affects the game more so towards the end. And, you know, I'm not saying, Lions, blah, 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 this, or Packers, you know, good on them, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm saying I want right down the middle calls. If it's something on the Packers, good, back them up. If it's something on the Lions, okay, move them forward, first down, whatever it is. I don't want, okay, let's extend the drive for the Packers. You know, and it's just like, I don't get how the people at New York don't, like, I feel like they should be calling them up and saying, hey, like, how did you not see this? Like, I think, you know, if it's a bad call on the refs, you know, they should be getting a call from New York and saying, hey, you messed up. This should not be a penalty. And, you know, I think, you know, penalties, they're ruining the game. And it's getting harder and harder and harder to watch every week because, you know, okay, there was no penalty early on, and there's probably going to be a whole bunch of penalties later on. Like the first quarter, there was maybe one. I don't know if there was any, but there could have been one penalty only. So, good. Whole quarter, you know, maybe one small penalty here, probably for holding or something. I don't know if there was even one. It might have been the start of the second quarter. But, again, start of the second quarter, you know, that's when the penalties started picking up. It's like the refs started, you know, noticing dumber stuff, smaller little nitpicks here and there, rather than, you know, just let them play. And I know that's a whole big thing right now, just let them play. Just, let him go. It's fine, whatever. I mean, I think, this is where the XFL next year could succeed. You could just, because they're supposedly going to have a sky judge or whatever. And, they can, that the sky judge can negate penalties or whatever, or they see different things than the refs did on the field. So I think, the XFL could really help, improve, not improve, but, give the NFL a run for their money because, they can, flip the penalty and say, okay, there was no penalty there because, someone else saw it, whereas one ref did. And it's just bad officiating. In the second quarter when the Lions scored their first touchdown. I'm sorry. In the first quarter, you had the one ref on the right side come down in the middle of the field and go, okay, no, he's short. And then all of a sudden the ref on the left side comes in and says, okay, it's a touchdown. And then, they're reviewing it, they're showing the review on TV and whatnot. And, they review it because it's scoring play or whatever. And I just find it so weird that, if you have one ref that says it's not, one ref that says it is, and all of a sudden, oh, it's a touchdown. I mean, I would think, you should go look more in depth. And obviously, it is hard to tell. So they're probably just like, okay, we're going to keep it a touchdown because it's hard to tell. Well, you should have, when you have a camera right down the end zone, the beginning of the end zone, I think, you can kind of see them. And I don't know if it was a touchdown. It could have been, it was. But I think they should have spent more time on it, looked at that. I think, they should just, plays like that. Instead of, hands to the face or whatever, a small, it cost the Lions a lot in the end. But I like, when you have two refs saying different things, I think you should look more into that play. And, let the little nitpick penalties go. Worry about the bigger plays, like the scoring plays, if there's a guy kicking someone, there's a fight going on, bigger penalties should matter more than, his hand is really close to his neck and face area, so we're gonna call him on that. I mean, when you even see it, the replay on TV, and it's probably going all over Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and everything. It's probably going all over right now. And he had his hands where he was supposed to have them, and it was a good defensive play, a good for the defensive offensive line. Who was, I think it said Flowers, right? Yeah. Good for Flowers. He was doing what he was supposed to do, and the refs they screwed it. They screwed the Lions. It was just. They gotta rework the refs, the reffing stuff. Who's ever in charge of that, they gotta rework it. They do. I mean, it sucks, and obviously, you want to protect the players, blah blah blah. And then even there was the play where Geronimo Allison went out. There was a cornerback coming up trying to intercept the ball, and Geronimo Allison and the cornerback, they hit helmets, and the first instinct is throw the flag, because it was helmet to helmet, and because Geronimo Allison didn't get up right away, was down, so it's just it's instinct. But if you go back and look at it, it wasn't intentional. The Lions defender wasn't trying to purposely hit Allison in the head. He was going for an interception, and they bumped, they collided, and I don't think that should have been a penalty. It was a terrible night for reffing. I accept that we won, but I don't accept how we won, and how we won was not okay, and they gotta fix the reffing. They do. I mean, you had the whole thing with Saints or the pass interference with the Saints and the Rams. It was good. I don't know how that guy didn't see it. He must have been blind or something to not see that. But there's just, it's just becoming so, nitpicky here and there for little things. And it's just like, I don't know if that really should have been, pass interference, or, if that should have been called to helmet, or hands to the face and all that. I don't know. They gotta fix this, and it's frustrating. And obviously, no, I'm not the only one frustrated. I'm defending the Lions, and I'm not gonna go out here and say, oh, the Lions, blah blah blah, because they're bad, blah blah, and all that. No, Lions should have won, fair and square. Should have won. That should have happened. It should not come down to the refs deciding the ball game for a team. It should come down to, the Packers offense didn't start out well, and now they started coming up too late. All right, well, that's why the Packers lost. Or the Lions couldn't get in the end zone, and they had to keep kicking field goals, which, caused the Packers to come back. So that's why the Lions lost, is because their offense couldn't get going after in the second half of the game. That's what it should be. It should be, let's hands to the face mask, first down, extend the Packers drive, extend the Lions drive. It should not be that. It should not come down to deciding factors by the ref. It should come down to the defense couldn't stop the offense, or the offense was getting stopped by the defense, and it was causing the other team to come back. And I don't know what else to say. Final thoughts. Lions should have won. Yeah, I know I keep saying that, but they should have. It should have been a Lions win. Lions should be top of the NFC North right now. Technically, if the Lions won, the NFC North had a better have a better record for all four teams than the NFC East, which would have been funny to see. Because the NFC East is just a dumpster fire right now. Which, good job, Jets. I mean, you beat up on Dallas. I mean, that's still hilarious how the Jets the Jets beat them. They beat Dallas so well. I mean, obviously, Dallas is coming back, blah blah blah. You could say, Dallas is going to be like, we didn't have our starters, starting tackles and offensive line and blah blah blah. Well, then the rest of you should be picking up the slack. So, but Lions should have won. And it was just a terrible game. A ref ball all the way. It was not a good game. Well, okay, it was a good game, and I knew it was gonna be a tight, close game because I knew the Lions are legit. They really are. And I would love to see them in the playoffs. I would love to see Packers and Lions in the playoffs. So I mean, they might make another run for it. I think they technically dropped to fourth. To fourth in the NFC North. Let's go to standings real quick and look. Yeah, they technically dropped to 500. And they're 2-1 now. So they go from second place that should have been first place down to last in the NFC North. But I think they'll make a climb back for it. Obviously, they still have to play the Bears and Vikings. I think they still play them twice. Let me quick look here. Yep, they have the Vikings next week, the Bears, November 10th. And then they play the Bears the 28th, the Vikings December 8th. And then, I think all eyes are going to be on Packers Lions week 17. 12/29, or December 29th. I think that's going to be a game where the refs are probably going to call it more down the middle. It's going to be in Detroit. And that game could very well decide, who's first and who's going to the wild card. And obviously, the Bears and the Vikings are not out of it either. And if three teams from a division could get in, I don't know how likely that is to happen if three teams from the same division got in, but I think it could be the Lions, the Packers, and the Vikings. Obviously, I don't know when Mitch Trubisky comes back for the Bears, but right now Chase Daniels he's an okay quarterback. All the Bears have right now is their defense, so that's not going to help them win. The Bears are third in the NFC East, NFC North. Right now. So I don't know, but back to the game. I don't know what to say. Should have been the Lions game. It should have won. And how fitting would it have been if Mason Crosby missed that final kick? If the Packers try to come all the way back, go all the way down the field, and then Mason Crosby kicks, we'd be talking about a whole bunch of different stuff. This video might not even be as long as it is. So yeah, that's all I gotta say. An ugly win for the Packers. But a win's a win, and that's sad to say. Well, at least for this game. A win's a win for, a lot of other games, but when it comes down to a big penalty, it doesn't feel like a good win. And it definitely feels like the Lions should have won. And I'm gonna stick up for the Lions here. If this down the line causes the Lions to not make the playoffs, or something else happens or whatever, it's really the refs. And yeah, it's the refs have just affected the game so bad right now. And that's not a good thing. It should be, just let them play and call the bigger penalties instead of, let's call every little nitpicking penalty here. So I'm gonna head and end it there on that note. Like, subscribe, share this video around. If you like what you see here, consider subscribing. All that whole thing, the whole YouTube thing. But yeah. At the end of the day, the Packers got the dub. And start thinking about next week. But this game's gonna be on my mind for the rest of the season. So, thanks for watching. And I'm gonna go ahead and get on out of here. Peace.